go straight to Martin Lewis's tweet about basically about jokes. Is what I call it. The end of jokes. Is essentially what I call
You're
this
being
tweet.
sort of quite sort of calamitous about
Am
this, I
I?
think.
Well, I felt pretty calamitous
Yeah,
when I
I think
read
you are
it.
catastrophizing a little
Well,
bit.
please, I want you to
Mm.
pile in on the criticism and your sort of. Well, I go a little bit. I do go a little bit free speechy here. Earlier, I jokingly wrote anything on telly, feigning ignorance of the year's most high-profile TV. Many found it funny. A few misread as aimed that it was aimed to diminish the impact of the interview's themes, including racism. This was very far from my intent. Even one person unwittingly upset is too many, so I've deleted. So he was later challenged on that by someone who said, "Well, Martin, you don't know why you felt that you needed to do that." And he said, "Well, I didn't feel that I needed to. I just wanted to because the person who I was upset was really nice." But I think if you put that in the mind of a comedian on stage, or you put that in the mind of somebody who is in the audience, I just feel like it's the end of jokes. If that's your level of tolerance level, or your kind of focus group level, or whatever you want to call it, then where can you possibly go?
Well, I mean, I have had a similar situation to this, really, where I did a piece of material which I have no intention of repeating because because I was sort of challenged on it, and somebody said it had really upset them, and so I was like, oh, actually, yeah, do you know what? I sort of get it. So I just said, oh, yeah, sorry, right, and then the thing is, the people defending me or sort of attempting to say you didn't do anything wrong then became so aggressive. And it's, sometimes you are the people who are trying to sort of stand up for you
Mm.
are much more terrifying, because also then it whips it up. And I mean, the thing about Twitter is it is you know uh, context can be lost, nuance is almost impossible. And I mean, I don't think that I have a single tweet that I would feel it was a loss to the world were that tweet to be deleted, that it is a piece of such genius that if it disappeared, the
You,
future of human communication would be
you don't know how
affected.
much
So
it's going to be worth on NFT/Bitcoin or whatever it is.
yeah, I only deal in fungible currency. I'm very fungible. I'm all about funging and fungibility. But yeah, so I just feel like yeah. I mean, obviously, it's when we start to self-censor that is clearly a step in the wrong direction. But I I do feel that there's such a sort of hysteria on Twitter around all of this stuff that you can end up being, and I think Martin Lewis probably was, you'll get caught in crossfire. You will end up, there's so many shit stirrers and flame fanners and people who just love a pile on that I sort of understand. I don't think it's moral cowardice. I think it's just, it's just self-preservation and quite sensible.
I mean, I think in a way this is like the ultimate tweet. I look at this as one of the most relatable things I've ever seen. He's obviously done a tweet that is perfectly harmless. He's had one comment back that was probably, even the comment back probably wasn't even that accusatory. It was probably just a nothing. But because it's just like a little bit of, it's like they've made mental illness into like a physical algorithm. He's gone, oh,
Perfect description.
I've got this wrong. He's deleted it, which, but
Oh no!
and
Oh,
me, this is the problem. You can see he's got into a tailspin totally because he's then written a second tweet. It's almost the opening chapter of a novel. This is so long. Like, yeah, I made a mistake. This is why I deleted it. I'm like, just delete it. It's fine. Like,
Yeah.
I. So I don't know. I think it's more like. I think basically Twitter is a lot of the time it's more hassle than it's worth, and I think Martin Lewis got set into a frenzy by that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying not to read too much into it.
And I think this is something
Yeah.
that Twitter has really exposed, is that nobody can handle being told off. and people either react with huge anger. I mean, the whole sort of not all men thing is just absolutely that people feel like they're being told off for something that they didn't do, and they're just reacting like a 5-year-old, like my kids do when, you know, I accuse the wrong one of having eaten my mini egg.
But if I had one person being upset, I think I would just ignore the tweet. I wouldn't respond to it. Is that quite cruel? And just think, well, no one else is minded about this, so I'm just going to keep it there. And I don't engage with everybody. And I'm actually, you know, given I'm doing this show, hosting this show, I'm actually very sort of frugal with my tweets now. I used to really get into it, really get involved with all the, you know, and I will just think, you know, I'm not going to change their minds. There's no point in even having a discussion about this. I don't care what you think, actually. You know, you've just waded into a tweet, and, you know, if it's just you, but if it was a few people, I'd remove the tweet just because I didn't want to upset, you know. But the odd person here and there, you know, they're just they're off.
I've upset every number of people live, and I don't mind that so much. I mean, but it is also because you cannot tell when you're going to just hit a nerve with someone. So I do sort of agree, Julian, that it's, you know, you have to kind of be guided by your own lights. But I mean, because I had some material about cats, right? Because, again, edgy. But actually that I have had more complaints because people really care about cats, possibly more than they do about racism, sadly, I would say. And that went a bit nuts, that I'd sort of, you know, I'd slagged off cats, and that was, so, you know, you just never know.
There's a big cat and dog thing going on there, though, I would imagine. So just
it was at Battersea Dogs Home, I think, the gig. I mean, it was totally wrong.
Just suffice to say that with Martin Lewis, I mean, obviously I got over it. I just made a few sort of really ill-informed financial decisions, and I was fine after that. But, let's go.
That'll upset him more than anything.
Absolutely. Just hit him where it hurts my own pocket.